Zoe, that we're all good to go. Thank you, Zoe. Well, good morning, everybody. Just call the meeting to order. Welcome to our council meeting of the 28th of February. Good morning to you all. Nice to see you all, safe and sound. I'll ask Chief Executive Gary if he would open today's meeting, please.
Thank you, Worship. Lord, we ask your guidance in our deliberations so that the decisions we take enrich the lives of the communities we serve and enhance the environment we administer. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Gary. Look, I just, obviously you've all got your agendas in front of you. I just wanted to start today's meeting by actually reflecting a little bit on the heartbreaking and devastating events that have been experienced over the Upper North Island in the last couple of weeks. I specifically want to extend our condolences to the families and friends of those who've lost loved ones in the weather event. You know, it's such a difficult time for them all. I'd also like to note our support and thoughts to the communities as they rebuild after the severe impacts of Cyclone Gabrielle. And a further note, actually, Gisborne, you're in for it again, regrettably, at the moment. So, you know, our thoughts are with you all. A little closer to home, obviously, I want to acknowledge the dedication and work displayed by not only our Civil Defence Emergency Management, parks and reserves and roading teams, but also to the contractors that we employ and to our comms team who collectively ensured that our residents were not only safe, but also very well informed. So I thank the organisation for that. Despite the losses of a number of trees, as we've discussed throughout the district, I think we actually fared really pretty well. For that, I think we should all be extremely grateful. And I think we've all discussed this at some way, shape or form over the last fortnight, but I thought it appropriate to acknowledge that at this morning's meeting. Also, just quickly before we move into the agenda, I want to take the opportunity to thank staff and elected members for wholeheartedly committing to the very tiresome and large undertaking of the Ahuaki engagement. Certainly been really impressed with some of the turnout of councillors so far, particularly Roger, I have to say, who took me up on the challenge of signing up for events outside of their normal beaten track. So I acknowledge that. And Claire and Liz, who I said, signed up for the most. So it's a little bit like a who can sign up for the most and attend the most. Yeah, bag of jelly beans for the person that commits to the most number of events throughout the district. So yeah, look, it's going to be a big month, March, for that and that alone, but I'm sure we're all up to it. So without Roger.
I'll start again. Further to that, can I just compliment the whole team and the comm staff for the collateral that they've developed for this roadshow. I thought particularly impressive and very good in terms of understandable information. And the one that I attended was the school kids, and I thought that they were able to relate to the information that was there. Particularly loved the big floor map. So yeah, great. Well done, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Roger. Yeah, it's great, that big floor mat, isn't it? It's really interactive and you get some sense of not only the district, but some of the challenges we have and the opportunities that we have in respect of Ahuaki. Now, just before we go on any further, I just want to let you know that I understand a journalist from the Waikato Times intends to be here at some point to take more stock photos of us. In action. So on the assumption that they won't be interfering with our meeting, just be aware that they may be lurking around the room at some point. I don't see, they're not here currently, but that is what I'm advised. I know normally we get a little bit more warning so we can wear our best outfit, but hey, we're winging it. Excellent. So let's crack into the agenda. First item up naturally is apologies. I have received apologies from Councillor Sterling. Regrettably, he is attending to, I think, medical issues. So can I have somebody move that we accept those apologies? Mike, and seconded by Philip. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Fantastic. Moving on to the next item, which is item number 3 on our agenda, disclosure of members' interests. Does anybody have one they wish to declare? Mike.
I'd just like to declare in the urban mobility report there, Cambridge Primary is mentioned a couple of times.
Okay, no, thank you, Mike. I don't see it as a conflict, but thank you for acknowledging that. I would like to declare a conflict in respect of item number 8 on our agenda. Obviously, there's a discussion to be had there which relates to me, so I will vacate the chair, and Liz, Deputy Mayor, will assume the chair for that item. So those are just for noting. No further ones. Okay, excellent. We'll move on to the late items. I'm not aware of there being any. Nobody's raising any. Excellent. Then we move to confirmation of the order of the meeting. I'm comfortable with the way as it appears there. Can I, if somebody, Andrew will move that. Sorry, Mike will second it. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Then we move, oh, sorry, my fat fingers are all over the place here this morning. To the confirmation of the minutes. So that appears on page 8 of our agenda. And the minutes are there. Can I have somebody move that we receive them? Lou, and Marcus will second that. Put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. So as is our usual procedure, I'll just cite the page numbers, and if you have an issue to raise in respect of their accuracy, please scream out. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, no, I was waiting for 19. Yeah. So
Yeah.
right at the bottom on item B, it's just a typo. The fifth phrase right at the last line, it's got note to be unreasonably beheld, should be not
to be. Thank you, Claire. 20, 21, 22, and 23. So on the assumption that there's that slight typographical error amended, can somebody put the motion? Liz and Claire, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Fantastic. Right, that moves us on to our first substantive item, which is the use of council seal and delegated authority during the interim period. Gary, I believe this is one of yours. Oh, sorry, I'm ahead of myself.
I just realised I wasn't at the meeting on the 13th of December.
Okay, for its accuracy. So Claire, are you happy to move that? And Marcus, you're happy to second that? I'll put the motion again then. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Thank you, Liz.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all good. So Gary, over to you then in terms of this item and documents under seal.
Thank you, Your Worship. So there were 5 staff warrants, so 4 staff warrants issued, just standard Local Government Act, Resource Management Act warrants. There was a deed of lease, which was for the storage area that we lease for the Taumuru Museum in Rickett Road. Oh, sorry, no, there's a museum in Rickett Road plus the staff building that we're occupying, and that's turning out to be a very useful facility for us. It's working very well. And then there were 2 contracts, one in Puniu Road for a hot mix surface, which was an extension to that contract. It was less than $1 million, but then there was the Watkins Road Reservoir, which was circa $3.5 million, which needed to be constructed. So just to meet with our programs. They will be reported separately to the Service Delivery Committee.
No questions. Bruce is happy to move. And Lou, are you seconding? Wonderful. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Excellent. Thank you for that. Moving on then to the next item, and I will vacate the chair.
Okay, thanks, Joe. I believe you're looking after this this item. I'll let you start. Thanks.
It hasn't got batteries.
Morning. So the purpose of this report today is to approve international travel for 2 officials to attend the opening of the New Zealand Museum and Visitor Centre in Lekawa. So I'm going to take my report as read this morning, and is there any questions?
Any questions from elected members? No, everyone's reasonably comfortable. I guess I've had a long-standing relationship with Lekawa for many years, and of course was very happy to support, like us all collectively, the position where we were able to fund the New Zealand Museum. I know that they're very much looking forward to opening the museum, and of course, you know, I think it's going to be something pretty special over there. So I'm actually happy to move from the chair if there's no questions, and looking for a seconder. Mike, all in favour? Carried. Thanks, everybody.
Workshop to Okay, thank you. So moving on then to the next item, which is council committees and appointments. Jo.
The purpose of this report today is to appoint Councillor Lou Brown onto the all accept notification of the Mayor's appointment to audit and risk of Councillor Lou Brown, and just to note and acknowledge that Bruce Thomas sits on the Te Amutu ComSafe, not only in his current capacity as Secretary and Trustee, but also as a representative of Waipawa District Council. Is there any questions? Philip.
Thank you. Through the Mayor, just I'm happy to move this recommendation, and just wanted to get some understanding or clarification with Bruce on ComSafe as council rep. With the Cambridge Safer Community Trust, I sit on that in my own right, and there's a community board member that's officially a Cambridge Community Board member that sits on that committee. So is there, with ComSafe, is there a Te Amutu Community Board member as well, or is there both, or just one, or because that's how it works in our town anyway?
Well, just
an understanding.
Just to elaborate, I can't remember which year it was. There was Councillor Laurie Hobart was a representative. It's a historic thing that council's always had a representative on ComSafe. He left. I got put on it just as a representative of council. We did have secretary. I'm not nailing council in any respect. We had a secretary that did all our minutes. We no longer have that. So now I've got that responsibility, as well as they thought, well, I was good enough to be a trustee. So we've got a few hats on that committee, but yeah, that's the history of it. And I haven't got rid of me yet. Yeah, no, that's good, and that must be the same then in Cambridge, because it's historically it's been the community board, and I think Nolene Barr, who's the secretary for the Cambridge Community Board, sat on that and took minutes on behalf of the council and community board. So, yeah, okay, cool. So I'm happy to move.
So you're happy to move that?
Yep,
and
thank you.
Andrew, you'll second that for me. I'll put the motion as it appears on page 29 of our agenda. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Excellent. Thank you. And now we move on to tab 10, our next item, which is a council submission on the review into the future for local government draft report. Good morning, Kirsty. I believe this is your item.
Through you, Madam Chair. Good morning, councillors. I'd like to respectfully request that this report be taken as read, but highlight for you just a couple of things. You'll recall back at the beginning of February, the Strategic Planning and Policy Committee had a workshop on the draft report from the Future for Local Government Review Panel, He Mata Whāriki, He Mata Whānui. From there, I prepared a first draft submission, which was provided to elected members, received feedback from Councillor Claire St. Pierre, and that has been incorporated into the draft submission attached as Appendix 1. Those additions have been highlighted in yellow for your ease of reference. Just a further point within the draft submission reference the work of Waikato Region councils through CoLab. At a staff level, we had a workshop at the end of January and pulled together some high-level principles. That work has been further refined by the chief executives of the Waikato region through the Chief Executives Forum. And yesterday, a submission was lodged by CoLab on behalf of that forum. This was provided to us late yesterday, so we will email that through to you. And Gary Diet, as Chief Executive, has been a signatory to that submission. Essentially, that touches on 4 key points, not unfamiliar to you, relating to allocating roles and functions in a way that enhances local well-being, advocating for a stronger relationship between central and local government and the role of local government in providing for community well-being, but also enhancing representative democracy and then building on equitable funding and financing mechanisms. So those are things that are also captured within the principles reflected in the draft submission when we reference the work undertaken at a staff level. I'm happy to respond to any questions. This is due for submission by close of business today. So hoping that you don't have any substantive changes.
Thanks, Kirsty. Claire.
Thanks, Kirsty. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the submission as far as it can go, really. I mean, I do feel that the review of local government will be tied up with what the Labor government decides as their reset for Three Waters, because if they choose to take a similar path to the National Party, you know, and do allow councils to have far more control in a way, you know, that's going to obviate the need for any major reform in this respect. But I was, I picked up with those 4 points that you mentioned with the CoLab submission, and this is this call for better collaboration between central government and local government. Look, we've been calling for that for years and years, and I just think, like, does someone have to put together, you know, a 7-point plan on how it could be achieved and put it on the table of Kieran McNulty or something? Because I'm getting a bit tired of hearing it and nothing seems to happen. And it's a critical thing. We need it. And I'd just like to see some action on it. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Claire. Gary, want to speak to that?
So Robert Brodnax and myself prepared a paper on placemaking and drew on references to the Scottish planning model, which was not necessarily the absolutely correct one for New Zealand, but it set out some high-level principles around placemaking and how we could give effect to that in conjunction with regional council and national council and national government, a national government. So the Future of Local Government panel picked up on that work, and they approached us during the preparation of the submission and said, we really want to hear about how Ahuaki is working, and not just in relation to the preparation of that plan, but how you might implement it. So the review of local government panel paper was so broad that the submission could have been a very lengthy one. And we've tried to focus in on the thing that you've touched on here. How can we, in terms of delivering for community wellbeings, best partner central government?
Respond. Well, I mean, I must say I am seeing at the consultation for Ahuaki a real willingness on the community, you know, to participate. And so I'm pretty excited that when we complete the plan, it'll be an excellent document for collaboration with central government. Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. But, you know, are we going to wait until we've sort of got that in a final form, or are we going to be working on it in between to try and get more engagement with central government on how to collaborate better?
So the panel make it very clear that the Local Government Act is a very enabling piece of legislation, and they're looking for examples of best practice. So let's get on and do it now. The great thing about Ahuaki is it's not constrained by our traditional Local Government Act processes. You know, you go out with an LTP and you give people 20 working days to make a submission, and we get lots of them, and it's a pressure cooker environment, whereas we're working very closely with individual communities. And that, I think, is the strength of Ahuaki, and it will be when it comes to implementation of that plan.
Thanks, Gary. Any other comments? Andrew?
I just want to say I'm very pleased to see the focus on placemaking. That is the essence of what we do. And I would be very disappointed to see any real elements of that removed from our role. So, well, I think well done. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree, Andrew. Lou?
Thank you, through the Mayor. I strongly feel that we're looking at seeing these legislations, and there's quite a number of them operating in conjunction with each other. The Resource Management Act and the Spatial Planning Act particularly could take away our ability as a council, because they want to centralise everything. The problem I see is the silos that they're developing. They're quite disparate, but they're going up as silos, each not interrelating with each other. And I feel the Local Government Act is part of this infrastructure where they're centralising everything. And the unfortunate part of that, we cannot operate effectively if we are a minor part of a larger body. We will not have the ability to actually put that infrastructure that we need in place. And so many things actually interrelate. So as I say, placemaking on 100%, like Councillor Brown and Councillor St Pierre, behind the placemaking. We need to absolutely emphasise that fact.
Thanks, Lou. Roger?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Susan. Yeah, I certainly endorse this report. And I think one of the important aspects of what we're doing as a council is we are being proactive in developing our spatial plan. We probably will be forced into a spatial planning regime, but in fact, our position where we're going out and determining what we want before that happens is excellent for us as a council and us for a district. So I really support that proactive stance that we're taking. So good. So thank you for putting that in.
Yeah, I totally agree, Roger. Any other comments or questions? Fantastic, great. So Kirsty, thank you for your report. We have a recommendation, councillors, appearing on page 34 to receive Kirsty's report and to approve the draft submission. Roger will move that for me. Claire will second it. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you so much, Kirsty. Thank you for all the work you're doing. Next item then, tab 11. Oh, see, that's why I've got my extra iPad here. Sorry. Tab 11, Waipa Urban Mobility Plan, Waka Kotahi Funding Agreement. Good morning, Eric.
Morning, Mayor Susan and councillors. Can I take my report as read? I'll field any questions. Thank you.
That's an easy morning for you, Eric. Liz has a question for you.
Oh, actually, not so much of a question, Eric, but obviously this is a very, very good day today. So as everyone knows, we're extremely successful in obtaining the funding. I just wanted to really thank, the governance group and the reference group that was created and filled with a number of voluntary community members who've helped us get to this point, and the staff as well. This has been actually a really quick, project to try to deliver, and obviously we're not quite there yet, but with the approval of this we can really get stuck in. So 2 really great opportunities for Kiki and Cambridge to connect our kids and all of our community on better pathways. So very, very pleased, and I'd be very delighted to move this recommendation.
Thank you, Liz. Roger?
Yes, I think I've jumped in before Marcus there because but thank you. Yes, Liz, I agree totally. And again, I'd just like to make comment that written within the words of this contract is the fact that the project that we have got there is being taken as a benchmark project for the country. And the fact, again, is that we were well prepared with the project to put it in, to focus that funding and become a benchmark project. So I think that's, again, good for us in the district. So thank you, Eric.
Excellent point, Roger. No, thank you, Roger. Marcus, did you have something to say? And then I have Lou over here. Nothing more? No, I know it's been well received at all the Ahuaki events thus far, so that's exciting. Lou.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate the whole system, the way we actually went out to the community and we had consultation processes and we built on those particular issues, particularly with Cambridge and Kiki. That worked so well. And I want to thank the team behind it and the chair and the whole of the urban mobility for doing a very, very positive infrastructure and putting things in place and adjusting it as to they do, because we had a very, very positive response last night from Kiki. And I was quite amazed that most people were absolutely stunned at how far we progressed that and how well it was working. So I was very, very supportive of the whole thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Lou. Yes, exciting times ahead. So Liz has moved, Roger has seconded that. I will put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Well done. Thanks very much, Eric. Great work. Right. Here's. Okay. So moving on then, councillors, to our next item, tabs 12 there, section 17A of the Local Government Act review, general maintenance and traffic services delivery. And Brian is on leave currently, so we have Dawn with us. Good morning, Dawn.
Morena koutou. Apologies from Brian. With respect to this report, it's a requirement of the Local Government Act. It sets particular milestones for our activities as to when we do these reviews. Certainly acknowledge that in terms of the criteria that's specified, it's not covering all of the wellbeing sort of an analysis, but with these two particular contracts, we've got long-standing arrangements where we have procured it in the market. We've got the Waka Kotahi subsidy to also consider. So the recommendation that arose from the evaluation was to proceed with a further tendering process procurement of these services in the open market. So that's the recommendation from it, and we're looking for your approval today to proceed on that basis, but welcome any questions.
Thank you, Dawn. Claire.
Yes, thanks, Dawn. I just wanted to say I really appreciated the detail that went into the review and explained why those other options weren't really workable, because that was sort of gave us a bit of more visibility than we usually get. Like I've heard about those alliances and things like that, but I can see from what was in the report that it wouldn't really fit with Waipa's way of doing things, really. Yeah, it sounded, quite top heavy and cumbersome. Yeah, so I just appreciate that extra analysis. Thanks.
Thanks, Claire. Lou.
Let me just ask a point of clarification through Mayor. Just quickly, under the general maintenance, with staff will consider to increase the scope, and it has water utility trench reinstatement. I just wanted to actually quantify what we're actually talking about there. Is this for stormwater or what it actually means?
Through you, Madam Chair. So this is where our reticulation teams and the like do minor repairs, either on footpaths or carriageways, sealed surfaces. And at the moment, they're relying on sort of local sort of contractors ad hoc. And so what we're looking at doing up until, at least until 30th of June 2024, is under this contract, have a guaranteed provision of service so that we can get those reinstatements done on a timely basis to the required standards. So yeah, that's what we're covering off.
Hello.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Reading through here, just clarifying that you have there's a joint arrangement with Te Awa, the maintenance of Te Awa Cycleway with the other two councils. Is that correct? Is that how I read it?
Through you, Madam Chair, unfortunately, that arrangement's managed through our community services team, so I don't have that insight, but I'll undertake to get that information
Yeah, I
for
think
you
that's what I
in terms of
read.
that agreement.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's a big part.
Any other questions for Dawn in respect of this report? No? Brilliant. So we have a recommendation appearing there on page 102 and 103, the 4 paragraphs there. Lou, you're going to move it for me. Philip, you will second it. I will put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dawn. Tab 13 is a resolution to exclude the public so that we can move into public excluded. Michael's happy. Michael, look at that. It's very formal, wasn't it? Michael will. Philip will second. I'll put the motion. All those